today. Today we are going to make skirt steak. Okay, guys, this is a fantastic steak, easily confused with flank steak. Flank steak is a little bit longer of a steak, and you're going to be able to see the grain running the entire length of a flank steak. When it comes to a skirt steak, you're going to see the grains running vertically up the steak. It's a much shorter grain, still about the same length as flank steak though. We're going to make two different kinds of skirt steak today. We're going to make a Chipotle Honey marinated skirt steak, and we're going to make a skirt steak that has been rubbed with our very own garlic and herb butter. To make the Chipotle and Honey marinade, what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 Chipotles mixed in with some Adobo sauce. That Adobo sauce is going to give us a very nice smoky flavor behind all of it, okay? You can get them canned, and they're decently cheap at just about any store. Then we're going to take 2 limes. We're going to squeeze all the juice out of both of those limes. Okay, next, what you're going to need is about 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic, and then you're going to use 1 1/2 cup of honey. Then you're going to start blending all of this together, and you're going to mix in it while it's blending 1/4 cup of oil. That's going to kind of help everything get a little bit of liquid to it and start mixing it up. Make sure everything in this marinade is very nicely mixed together, okay? It's going to go a very long way for you. Now, take your skirt steak, lay it out into a nice pan where it's got some room to breathe, pour your marinade right over top of it. Don't be afraid to get in there, start mixing it up. We're just going to cover it, put it in the fridge for 4 hours. For our garlic and herb butter, what we're going to do is we're going to take a head of garlic, cut it in half, smash it with our knife, okay? This is going to break up the cloves and let us start getting those cloves separated. We're going to take those, put them into a container, and we're going to shake it, aggressively shake it. That's going to help break up the last of the skins to where we can just easily peel them off with our fingers, guys. Now, we're going to use about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic. We're going to take 2 sprigs of rosemary. We're going to run our hand right down the stem, okay? Ripping off all of those leaves that we can. And we're going to do the exact same thing with 2 sprigs of thyme. Just run your fingers right down the stem, okay? And you're going to rip all those leaves right off. Then you're going to need 1 whole stick of room temperature butter. The room temperature is very important. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. You're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated onion. Okay, then you're going to start blending. Now I used about a 1/4 cup of oil here. That's going to depend on how much you guys need, alright? But use as much until everything gets nice and pureed. If your butter's room temp, it's going to really help. Then all we're going to do, same thing. We're going to get a nice basting brush. We're going to lay our steak into a nice pan. And then we're just going to get it nice and rubbed, guys. Okay, don't be afraid to really cover this with that butter. You really want that seasoning to sink in. Then, once you have a nice coat of butter all the way across your steak, we're going to wrap it with some plastic wrap. We're just going to sit in the fridge for 4 hours, guys. Once your 4 hours is passed, okay, we're going to take them out. And then I take my skirt steaks, I cut them. They're a little bit too big to fit in my pans all at once, so I cut them right in half. Now you can see the way these grains run, okay, how it runs vertically up the steak. Now when you cut it, you're going to want to cut against the grain. It's going to help keep it much more tender than cutting it with the grain. Now cooking, very simple here, guys. You're going to want very high heat pans, okay? Chipotle and honey marinade. Okay, we're going to use a little bit of oil to get it started. And we're going to sear these about 3 minutes each side on high heat. Okay, once I have one half of the steak done, then I'm going to start my second half. Same exact thing, 3 minutes on each side. Now, once you're about done, on your second side, when you're almost finished with the skirt steak, take that leftover marinade that you have, and what you're going to do is you're going to add that to your saute pan, okay? We're just going to cook it down just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. I'm thinking the last 30 seconds to a minute of being in your pan. Doesn't have to cook down a lot, guys. Okay, once your steak's all done, set them to the side. You're going to want to take your sauce, pour it right over top of your steaks, and just let them rest for a couple minutes before you're getting ready to slice them. Now, for our garlic and herb buttered steaks, we're going to go straight into a hot pan. No need of oil. The butter is going to take care of that for us. This is going to be the exact same cooking method. 3 minutes, high heat on each side, and you're going to be all set. Guys, same thing for this. When you have that pan with the garlic and herb butter in it, any leftover butter that's in that pan, scrape it out. Put it on top of your steak. It's going to make a nice little finishing sauce for your steak, guys. Now that our steaks are all done, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cover them with that butter. We're going to let them rest a couple minutes, and then we're going to go slice them. Now, when you slice them, okay, as long as you're going against the grain, guys, you should see a nice little kind of honeycomb pattern in that steak. Then, once you're done slicing them all up, next thing to do is plate them and get ready for some food. Now, I apologize that the mashed potatoes weren't included in this recipe today. And also, when you're plating, don't be afraid to just let your dog just look at it. You know he wants a taste. It's a pretty simple steak recipe. Let it marinate for a couple hours. High heat, 3 minutes each side. Finish them with the sauce. Let it rest. Resting is very important. Okay? Now, if you do all this, what you're going to end up with is something really, really special, guys, okay? You take your time with these steaks, this is what you're going to be looking at.